Hello, my name is Georgios Stavropoulos. I'm a research associate with the Center for Research and Technology Hellas in Greece, and together with Dr. Cristina Blasi, a professor at the Autonomous University in Barcelona, we have produced the article Developing AI Predictive Migration Tools to Enhance Humanitarian Support, the case of EUMigraTool. In this video, Cristina will initially make a brief overview of the EUMigraTool, a tool that has been developed under the EatFlows project funded by the European Commission. I will then explain in more detail some technical relevant aspects of the tool. So let's start with the main outcomes of the EatFlows project.
I've come up with two main outcomes. The first one is we have created a technological tool. We have called it EUMigraTool, which what it does is it predicts numbers of migrants arriving into the European Union in different countries of the European Union with the purpose of helping NGOs and these associations working on the field, assisting migrants to understand what they should expect. Because what we found out is that one of the main problems for the humanitarian associations is that sometimes they are not prepared. And there's a sudden event, and all of a sudden it shifts everything, and whatever maybe was the trend before just suddenly changes. A lot of them, they don't have enough resources in place, or they don't have enough equipment, or sometimes it's about understanding also, for example, if there will be more women coming or kids, and what do these types of people need, rather than a general number of displaced people. So our tool has different functionalities, but it gives more information about not only the number of migrants, but also the gender and also the age range. And the countries of origin. So with all this information, we have been in touch with different NGOs in different countries who have been testing the tool and have been helping us also with the design of the tool. And this has been so valuable because it's not only about what we think that it's important for them, but they have firsthand explained to us, look, we need to include this, or we need this other feature to be this way or this other way. So this connection with them has been a really valuable piece of our project. So now, after 3 years, we came up with a tool that has been tested in real environment, the EUMigraTool, and it gives also these end users, the NGOs, the possibility to use in advance to understand when and where are migrants coming from. And the predictions are short-term predictions. So we are giving information about what's going to happen next month. But also, we have midterm predictions. So we also have been able to give information, forecasting information of migrants arriving between 3 and 6 months ahead. We haven't been including long-term predictions because even though this was one of the questions that we thought and reflected at the beginning of the project, like could we eventually also give predictions that are 1 year ahead? But the reality is that there's so much uncertainty in between and so many things that can change over those months that eventually it would not be accurate enough. So this is one of the main outcomes that we use. Also, I have to emphasize one very important thing about the tool is that we only use open access data sources. With that, I want to say that this is very transparent because it's data that's already over there that everybody can access, and we are feeding the tool with those data sources. So this includes, for example, Eurostat database. We also include UN databases. There is also specific data coming from from platforms like ACLET on conflict and how conflict could eventually also give us information about migrants being displaced. But also on the counter side is that the fact that we are only using information that is available and that therefore is limited means that sometimes our predictions might not be as accurate as predictions that, for example, come from information, confidential or restricted information that governments have. So this plays both ways, right? We are intending to be transparent and provide those tools to people and associations that otherwise wouldn't have any access to any predictive tool. But at the same time, we fight this idea that we might be constrained because a lot of the information about arrivals is not disclosed, is kept by the governments in their own systems. And the only way they would disclose that to us is if we would provide also the tool for them. And then you might wonder, why wouldn't we also provide this tool to anyone interested, right? It's about predicting migration, so it's a European project, so why don't we open it to everyone? And this is also a fair question. We have been struggling also to find the fair balance about that. But the reality is that a lot of these governments that might be interested in our tool, ultimately maybe the purposes that they are intending are not aligned with ours. So for us, it's very important that the tool is not misused and, for example, used for closing borders or putting extra obstacles to those migrants willing to arrive to a host country, because ultimately the idea is to help them and assist them in their arrival and in the whole integration process. So in both the NGOs working with migrants. And as I said, they are the ones who know also the reality of what's going on. And they are the NGOs that tested the technological tool and that gave us the feedback that they believed was necessary in order to improve and to come up with a tool that is useful and that is based on reality. So that's why we are really careful on giving access to that tool to other target groups that are not specifically contained in the end users of our project. But so that's the most important outcome. Another important outcome from our project is that we understand that the end users of the tool are not governments, but we want to provide information and knowledge about migration flows to governments. So we have produced 5 different policy briefs, 5 different topics, hot topics in the field of migration. These policy briefs are public and have been disseminated specifically in specific channels to policymakers at local, regional, European and international levels. And we have also come up with events to promote the results and to circulate that and establish a dialogue with the policymakers and with the governments to how to improve the current situation. So that's one thing that we have done to create more impact of our results. And then about the EUMigraTool, the technological tool, even though policy makers and policy associations might not directly be able to use the tool, we are creating every 6 months what it's called the EMT reports. And we summarize the most important findings in a report that is public so that anyone who has a particular interest could access it. So we are very much aware of the importance that for us is to increase awareness of the situation, to try to come up with an improvement in terms of the current policies and laws in place in the European Union in the field of migration. We just hope that our project could actually help that. At least if we cannot come up with all types of solutions, which is something that it's out of our hands sometimes, but at least we can trigger some debates that could eventually stimulate the right people to come up with progress and with reforms if they are needed.
And now I will tell you a few things about the tool, the models within the tool, and more specifically the model that provides short-term predictions of migration flows arriving in the European Union, a model named large-scale model, or LSM for short. It uses two main data sources collected from SICAN and Eurostat. SICAN collects data on global societal behaviors and events from 1979 to the present. It's updated every 15 minutes and it includes news sources, events, emotions, and themes. The EUMigraTool mainly uses the GDEL 2.0 event database, a global knowledge graph, the global quotation graph, and the global relationship graph for near real-time updates and comprehensive events analysis. Eurostat, on the other side, provides monthly data on asylum applications disaggregated by nationality, gender over the past 10 years. This data highlights trends and shifts in migrant and asylum seekers' arrival in the EU and aids identifying the entry points and demographic details using the model's training. So GDEL is used for the training and Eurostat is mainly used as a ground truth in order to validate the training. So the EUMigraTool large-scale model is distinct from other predictive models as it uses open access data and excludes personal data. The large-scale model processes data through several stages. Initially, we have a data processing step that is meant to clean data from the SICAN repository to handle formatting, missing values, categorical and numerical data. The second step is the feature extraction. We're utilizing traditional machine learning algorithms and deep learning architectures. We extract essential features from migration predictions, such as the indicators of violence, economic growth, public healthcare reach, climate anomalies, and political situations. The next step, the third step, is the AI module, where we apply machine learning classification algorithms to provide realistic migration inflow and outflow estimates and attitudes toward migrants, accompanied by comments on how these conclusions were drawn. And the final step is the end-user requirement satisfaction survey, where we format the output of the AI modules to meet the end-user specification, providing confidence interval for migration estimates. Within the eFlows project, we had 17 non-governmental organizations, NGOs, that have been involved in the design and the validation of the EUMigraTools. These NGOs, as part of our user board, participated in various workshops and testing sessions to ensure that the tool meets their needs. The feedback we got from this session was used to improve the tool. The NGOs highlighted that the tool's potential to provide detailed, actionable insights for better resource allocation and strategy development in migrant and reception and integration. With respect to the prediction accuracy, it's a crucial part for the adoption of the tool by the NGOs, and at the current point achieves around 80% accuracy in the predictions. The tool uses a backtesting method to validate these predictions, comparing forecasted values with actual historic data. This process helps the NGOs understand migration trends and allocate resources effectively. The tool's predictions are continuously refined with new data, enhancing its reliability and utility for NGOs working in migrant reception and integration. Thank you for your attention.